The Valorian strike force materialized in Earth's orbit with the confidence of a species that had conquered 47 star systems. Their armor gleamed obsidian black, embedded with technology that could shatter mountains. They were the Chromath, the elite warriors whose very name caused entire civilizations to surrender before the first shot was fired. Commander Zexthar studied the blue-green planet below with satisfaction. Intelligence reported that humans were a weak species, barely 2 centuries into space travel, protected only by sentiment and outdated treaties. The Galactic Council had grown too soft, he thought. These creatures needed to learn their place. "Deploy the advance unit to the primary settlement," Zexthar commanded. "Make it swift. Make it memorable." 12 Chromath warriors descended toward a target chosen specifically for its vulnerability, a rural human settlement in the Northern Territory. No military installations, no planetary defenses, just soft targets to send a message. What intelligence hadn't mentioned was the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center. Natalie Chen was on her 3rd cup of coffee when the sensors detected the atmospheric entry. As the center's chief xenobiologist, she'd been preparing for potential first contact scenarios, but not like this. The metallic signatures were all wrong. These weren't exploratory vessels. "Matthew," she called to her research partner, already pulling up the defense protocols they'd never actually expected to use. "We've got incoming, and they're not friendly." Matthew Rodriguez was already at the secondary console, his fingers flying across the holographic interface. "I'm reading 12 individual signatures, heavy armor, energy weapons." He looked up, his dark eyes meeting hers. "Natalie, we need to evacuate." "We can't." She gestured to the holding facilities stretching behind them. "We've got 73 juveniles in various stages of rehabilitation. The transport won't support emergency evac protocols with that many." The building shook as the first warrior landed outside. Natalie made a decision that would later be studied in military academies across the galaxy. She opened all the enclosures. Zexthar's warriors spread out with practiced precision, weapons primed. The structure before them was primitive, mostly transparent aluminum and local timber. Scans showed only 2 life signs inside, both human. This would take minutes. The first warrior through the entrance stopped abruptly. Something small and striped darted past his feet. Then another, and another. "Commander!" The warrior's voice crackled with confusion. "There are small creatures here. Dozens of them. Neutralize any threats and secure the humans," Zexthar responded, irritated. His warriors had faced battle-hardened soldiers. What could possibly... The screaming started 30 seconds later. From the observation deck above, Natalie and Matthew watched through the reinforced glass as chaos erupted below. The Valorian warriors had encountered Earth's most underestimated predator, tiger cubs. Not full-grown tigers, which would have been dangerous but straightforward. These were juveniles, ranging from 3 to 8 months old, recently rescued from various crisis situations. They possessed all the hunting instincts of their species, with none of the restraint learned through maturity, and absolutely no fear of the unknown. The cubs saw 12 large moving objects and did what evolution had programmed them to do. They attacked. "Is that one trying to drag a warrior by his helmet?" Matthew asked, incredulous. A 4-month-old cub had indeed latched onto a Chromath's head, tiny claws scrabbling for purchase on the smooth obsidian surface, sharp baby teeth seeking any gap in the armor. The warrior spun wildly, attempting to dislodge the 15-kilogram ball of fury. Another warrior fired his weapon, carefully, trying not to harm the creatures, which intelligence had somehow failed to mention, were the cubs of Earth's apex predators. The energy blast scattered the cubs briefly. But they regrouped with the persistence of creatures who'd never learned that some things were too big to hunt. "They're pack hunting," Natalie observed, with scientific fascination overriding her terror. The cubs are coordinating. Look, 3 on the left are driving that warrior toward where the older juveniles are waiting. The Chromath were trained for combat against species with weapons, strategy, and reason. They had no protocol for 20-kilogram bundles of claws, teeth, and pure predatory instinct that treated their advanced armor as an interesting climbing challenge. Commander Zexithar watched the tactical display in growing horror. All 12 warriors were reporting. Not injuries exactly, but something worse. Humiliation. His elite soldiers were being absolutely overwhelmed by infant animals. "Retreat," he ordered. "Immediate extraction. Commander, we haven't secured—" "Now!" The warriors teleported out in flashes of blue light, leaving behind only the cubs, who pounced on the spots where the strange, tall creatures had vanished, confused but triumphant. And 12 helmets. The cubs had managed to remove every single helmet, now scattered across the rehabilitation center floor, each bearing dozens of tiny claw marks. When the Galactic Council convened 3 days later, Natalie and Matthew stood before representatives of 200 species. The Valorian Empire demanded sanctions against Earth for their unprovoked deployment of biological weapons. Natalie stepped forward calmly and placed the 12 scratched helmets on the presentation platform. "These were removed by juvenile tigers," she explained. "Baby tigers. They weigh less than 20 kilograms. Adult tigers can weigh over 300 kilograms and can take down prey twice their size." She paused, letting that sink in. "Earth has millions of these predators. We also have wolves, bears, crocodiles, sharks, and approximately 8 million other species, many of which are significantly more dangerous than cubs who haven't even been weaned." She looked directly at the Valorian delegation. "You sent your elite warriors against our children's wildlife rehabilitation center. Our actual military never even mobilized." Matthew added quietly, "We've submitted our application for council membership. Given that your intelligence on Earth was so catastrophically incomplete, we thought it best to provide comprehensive data on our planet's ecosystem." He smiled. "For safety purposes." The silence in the chamber was profound. The Valorian Empire withdrew all claims and issued a formal apology. The story spread across the galaxy within weeks, how humanity's infant predators had routed the legendary Chromath warriors. Natalie returned to the rehabilitation center, where the cubs continued their recovery, completely unaware they'd changed galactic history. She watched a particularly small cub playfully wrestle with a helmet twice its size and smiled. "You know what the best part is?" Matthew said, joining her. "We didn't even tell them about the honey badgers." Natalie laughed. Humanity hadn't sought conflict. But if the galaxy needed a reminder that Earth was special, that this world had forged its dominant species through eons of surviving alongside nature's most magnificent killers, well, the cubs had delivered that message perfectly. The tiny claw marks on 12 elite helmets would ensure no one forgot.